the free TuneIn app. Once you do, search Rainier Avenue Radio, and remember, do not curse out your fellow drivers. This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio traffic update.
This is a Rainier Avenue Radio.World public service announcement. New school year is just around the corner. Did you know? In order to attend classes and play sports, your child needs to be up to date on all vaccines required for school before the first day of instruction. Now is the perfect time to catch your children up and avoid exclusions. Public Health Seattle and King County invites you to come on out to 3 free back-to-school clinics. August 3rd, 3 to 7 p.m. at the Taft-Sigali School-Based Health Center in Federal Way. August 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Kent YMCA. And August 11th from 3 to 7 p.m. at the Renton High School Health Center. Clinics are open to all kids ages 4 to 18, offering all vaccines required for school entry, plus the COVID vaccine for everyone eligible. No insurance or proof of residency required. To learn more, visit kingcounty.gov/find-a-clinic or on RainierAvenueRadio.org. Women are not an homogenous group.
We face discrimination differently depending on factors such as ethnicity, age, socioeconomic status, and more.
Rainier Avenue Radio is proud to amplify women's voices.
They are the experts of their own lives, initiating conversations within their community about challenges they face, the solutions they're working on, and the opportunities they see.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 for Women's Voices on Air. We know our challenges. We are the experts of our lives.
We are master multitaskers, prioritizing our family, friends, and our faith above our own needs.
Our needs and voices are too often overlooked.
Please join us this Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. for Women's Voices on Air.
We tell our stories in our own way.
If you or a family member are 55 or over and need nursing home level care, but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no co-pays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
I just love that sound. Hello, world. This is Bettina Carey, and I am here on Rainier Avenue Radio today, where we are going to help you to shatter your glass ceiling. And I say ceilings usually because that's what I mean. We want to make sure that you are addressing all of the ceilings that are out there, stopping or blocking you from achieving success. If you've been looking for a way to shatter yours, you've come to the right place. Our next guest is none other than Sally Page. She says, higher consciousness is emerging in the human heart, expanding into the love that honors the sacredness of life. After surviving not one, but 2 near-death experiences, Sally awoke to the reality that her one life had deeper meaning. Sally, a former NASA systems engineer, explored, researched, and learned and tried many alternative modalities in her journey of self-healing. Along the way, she became a medical intuitive, gaining understanding of what it takes to really heal herself and now others. Determined to live out her life purpose, Sally broke through her self-limiting beliefs to embrace a life lived with spreading love, hope, and possibility thinking. Welcome, Sally. It's so great to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Bettina. I'm very excited to be here.
That's great. And you look gorgeous, and your backdrop does too. So thank you so much for working hard to make sure that all of the universe was on your side.
Out in nature, it's all good.
Yes, I heard a little extra noise there in the beginning, so I wasn't quite sure if I was mic'd or not. So sorry for the slow beginning. But we have a lot to talk about, and we're probably going to have you come back. I already know that up front. So you had shared your personal journey to self-discovery on your path to what you might call a super conscious or more conscious being. And one thing that you mentioned that really struck me was that you felt that you never fit in to that box that people expected you to fit into. So when you woke up, you had a whole lot of realization around you, right? So
Many
share a little bit
stages.
about what happened. The thumbnail
Yes.
sketch of what happened, how you got here.
So growing up, I had a very strict family, and I was given rules and expectations and required to meet those expectations, required to fit in or at least try. And sometimes it worked for me and sometimes it just felt wrong. So my inner conflict and struggle as I was growing up is that my inner world and outer world were not in balance. My inner world was very shut down. I would feel it, things would feel wrong. I would be forced to do something growing up that I just felt was absolutely wrong, and knew I didn't have an option to say no because it wasn't accepted in my family. So growing up, I longed for this inner connection with my spirit, my heart, my soul. And I didn't even know what that longing was. I didn't know how to get it. I didn't know what to do about it. I was living with a need to fill this and in the struggle to still conform. So I had a big gap between what was building up inside me and what was going on in my outer world. And for such a long time, I allowed this outer world to shut me down. But I really had a deep drive and inner desire to make a meaningful difference in the world. And my life took me on a journey I would never have expected. And here I am.
Well, I hope you don't have to nearly die to have your life experience because you did have that, and you had it not just once, but twice.
Yes.
When you woke up, what did you find had occurred in your life?
Waking up is a process. It doesn't happen in one event. It happens in levels all the time, and there's always more to go. But my big near-death experience was a process of being in a struggle with what I wanted to do in my career, with my ex-husband. I had an engineering degree, and I was really drawn to go into alternative medicine, where I could do chiropractic or homeopathic work with people all the time. I was really tired of being stuck in a computer room alone with no people and just computers around me day and night, and it was just too much. So I knew I needed to make a change, but he was in total opposition. Finally, I took my power back and I said, I'm just going to do it. And I enrolled, but right after I enrolled, I found out I was pregnant. And I went to my organic chemistry instructor and I told him, I'm a little nauseated. I may have to leave the room from time to time during class because I'm pregnant. And he's like, oh my God, let me check the chemicals. So I went through the list and he started telling me, there are so many chemicals involved in this education that could damage the fetus, especially the cadaver work. And he said, you need to know the risk. And I said, no, I'm done, because I'd wanted a baby all my life. And I just knew that this alternative thing would happen at the right time. So I focused on having a baby, but my husband, who was very wrapped up in his career, wasn't excited about this baby that was on the way. He was very absent from my life before then. I spent evenings and weekends alone most of the time. And it didn't change when my son arrived. He felt really, as he grew up, he was feeling really sad because the other kids would go off with their dads when we did events with our playgroup, and his dad was never there. It was always just me. So I got to really see how this relationship chasm not only weighed on me, it weighed on him. I didn't know what to do about it, and I was just trying to live with it. But as I watched him feel that rejection and disappointment, I really started to realize the toll it was taking on me. So can you imagine just feeling so tired and exhausted that you had to really fight and struggle to come out of a state of deep sleep? Well, for me, it took great effort to wake up. And when I did, I finally opened my eyes. I took a moment to look at my surroundings and realized I was in the hospital in intensive care and I had almost died.
Wow. And what's crazy about your story is that you had your own internal experience.
Yes.
And all those around you had an entirely different experience. So they're thinking, wow, we don't know whether you're going to live or die. And in fact,
Right.
share the
But they
story
thought I
of,
wouldn't live.
of like one of your family members flew out with, what stuff to wear in black.
Yeah, my family literally packed their funeral clothes to come to California to say their last goodbye, and hoping to get there before I passed away. Because I had bacterial meningitis, they caught it very late. My hands and feet had turned black. I was on full life support, and it wasn't looking good. And the big conversation people were having is, how long do we leave her on this life support before we pull the plug? So that's what was going on. And
so that was their experience.
That was their experience.
But that wasn't your experience. So share a little bit more about your experience.
This is interesting because for years, no one ever asked me what my inner experience was. And then as I started to talk about it, it was really interesting to see what developed. And really, I went into a deeper stage of understanding it myself. But when I woke up, I definitely had a deep inner knowing that I would completely heal, and that I would live to raise my son, and I would help other people heal. And there was such a peace that I had about death. It was not scary. It wasn't hard. It was a state of expansion into bliss. And it was a wonderful place to be. And I was really in a place of making a choice. Do I leave my body, or do I go back? And I was really thinking leave the body seemed like a good choice. But then I looked at my son in this state of altered consciousness of near death. And I could see my little son, 17 months old, hanging his head with no one to love him because his dad wasn't very engaged. And I just knew I had to come back to raise him so that he would have someone who totally loved him, who wanted him to grow wings to fly and live a really full life. So I literally willed myself back to life.
And what was interesting from hearing your story is that this is your internal experience, right? Life is going to change. You're going to have a new beginning. Everything's anew. And then the doctors are saying things like, you may never walk again. Your neurology is going to be affected for life. All of we can't help you anymore. And this is as good as it's going to get. And then your internal expansion, mentality is saying, those are self-limiting beliefs that are not going to occupy my space. I am going to be here healthfully. I'm going to raise my son, all of these things. And that's a total breakthrough.
That is a massive breakthrough.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. I had such a deep, visceral knowing that I would fully heal. And I did have to learn to walk again. It took me more than a year before I could balance well enough to get through a doorway without bumping it. My balance ability was very damaged and a lot of neurological damage, but so much has healed. It's been remarkable. And the thing is, when the doctors were telling me that you won't fully recover, you just won't, you're too damaged, that didn't even seem real, because that inner knowing was so strong. I knew it was true. And I didn't really even get the death thing until it took me more than a week after I'd gotten out of intensive care to even get to the bathroom. It may have been 10 days. I'm not sure of the timeline. I was in a pretty in and out of it state. Yeah. But when I looked in the mirror and saw my eyes, I could see that death energy in my eyes. And I'm like, wow, I really get where I've been. And that was game changing for me.
That's too close for comfort for me anyway. I don't want to get that close. I want to learn from people like you, because I could have my own near-death experience, but why would I when you have had the near-death experience already? And then you can better inform me. So it led you on a path to become a medical intuitive. Explain for the audience what that means for you. What does that mean for them?
So a medical intuitive has to develop their intuition to see, feel, and perceive through inner sight, inner awareness, and energy perceptions what is going on in the body. And you're not just looking at the body, you're looking at the soul, you're looking at past lives, you're looking at all sorts of things that are beyond the perception of any device, anything that can be measured by non-intuitiveness is not perceivable and needs to be healed. Like there's so many past life issues that come up in healing people. There are past lives where people have to go back and make things right that reflect what's going on in their current life, because we hold those imprints of all the things that need to be healed in us. And every time that a baby is in the womb, it's imprinted with not only its own energies, but also the mother's energies are very strong imprints. So there's so much that we have to heal as humans, but every time we face the struggle and break through the I can't do that, or I'm stuck in this pattern, we have a leap in our growth, a leap in our consciousness, and eventually we can expand into super consciousness.
Yes, and you know, it's possible for you, but it's also possible for me, right? And so you're like the guide, you're the person that someone might want to turn to find a solution. So what is this solution? What is it that people are looking for that you might be able to help them with?
Well, it's not just about healing, because when you look at things this way, it's about really getting on your soul purpose, finding out what that is, aligning with it, being consciously aware of it in the way that you live, and connecting with your deep inner intuition yourself. Because when you do that, you change the whole game of life. For example, I had a crazy, crazy day the other day, and it felt like everything was just falling apart and not working. And I'm like, oh, the energy's not right here. So I took a moment, I went outside, spent just a few minutes in nature, breathing, connecting, asking for guidance. What do I need to do here? And I got the guidance. I came in, I did one thing differently, and the whole mess just fell into place, and the rest of the day just flowed. But that's the difference. We can fight ourselves and our energy and what we're trying to do, or we can get into alignment and have it flow. And that's where our greatest possibilities and our best self shines. And that's what I can help people with.
And I personally have believed since I was a teenager that I came here for a bigger purpose than might be obvious by just going to work and punching a clock. You know, I really believe that I have a vision and a mission and a purpose here. And I hope that those that are listening and watching have that same belief system, because that's what we're all about here. And I believe that when you shatter your glass ceiling, in this case, this is, the soul healing work that needs to be shattered. It gives you a whole new mindset, right? Full of possibilities. And this is the work that you do. So give me an example of working with someone. If I had come to you and I, came to you in a similar state of mind as before your death experience, you were trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. You were trying to live as others have lived. You knew you didn't belong in that life. You had to make some really tough choices. What might that scenario look like? Give me an example. Did I lose you, Sally? I think you're frozen. Oh dear. So it looks like Sally has frozen up here for a minute. So let me just share how this idea of having a mission, a vision, can play out in your life until Sally returns here. So on the road to perdition, as they say, I found that I had a mission myself, and that was to go from being a victim in my younger years when I was a victim of domestic violence to becoming a woman who's empowered in all areas of my life. And that means business, leadership, love, life, and health. And having found my way here, I'm now in a position where I can explore and explain my mission, vision, and purpose with others. And of course, that meant founding the We Empower You community in the middle of COVID last year. And I'm so excited about this opportunity that we've created. And Sally, being a member of the We Empower You community, can share with you when she returns just what that means for her. But as I'm thinking about Sally and her near-death experience, and hoping that she'll be able to come back and explore what she's doing with people using her medical intuition. And intuition is a really, really big key component. So if you have that gut instinct, that desire to live into a meaningful purpose, you've come to the right place for sure. Watching and listening to the Shattering Your Glass Ceiling show, I tend to bring on people like Sally on the more super conscious level, as well as folks on the more practical level in business as well. So I hope you'll keep watching and listening as our show continues into the years to come. Sally is not returning here, so let me just kind of turn to my notes here of things that she and I had talked about. So what Sally and I had talked about was that healing can awaken your soul and invite a sacred relationship with yourself, where you come to know yourself on a more deep, loving, trusting level. And this inner knowing is always there. It's there when we're born, for that matter. And then somewhere along the way, we lose it. And finding your way back can come through a near-death experience, but it can also come through trauma or drama. And to some people, if they get lucky enough, it doesn't require any of that. They just kind of wake up to this super conscious level of being. But it does take awareness. And I believe awareness comes first. Like Eckhart Tolle says, the power of now is what awareness is. When I recognize that this is the moment and the only moment that exists, because that past moment is now past and the future moment doesn't exist, then I have the possibility of being empowered. And so I am really, really focused on that call. That's my call to action, is to completely live as empowered as I possibly can and to help empower others along the way. So when you're working with Sally, and I sure hope she's able to return, what do you get? She has a soul purpose alignment assessment that she's doing and offering. She does this for about 30 minutes. We'll put the calendar invite here on my post, and that way you can set up a 30-minute consultation with Sally. She's here for you. I'm here for you. Of course, you can always visit me at the weempoweryourlife.com website as well. And you can always call me at 206-349-4297, or you can visit us on the web at the weempoweryourlife.com website and certainly be able to tap both of us. Sally is really focused on discovering areas of your life that can have a transformational potential. And she's here to activate those areas with you. And again, that soul purpose alignment assessment is how she initially engages with folks. And it's about 30 minutes to start. So that said, I am loving that the universe created a space to do a monologue that I wasn't prepared to do and to be able to keep going here with you all. Just to give you a little context of my life story, since Sally's not popping back into the show yet, is that when I was a young girl, I was in high school, and I fell in love with a young man who was my same age. And we soon started to date. And before I knew it, one thing led to another. And the relationship turned abusive. And I did not know what to do. I found myself in a place where I had never been before. But I was too afraid to tell anybody, too afraid to reach out for help of any kind. And I went on to marry this man. And along the way, I was pregnant. And one assault that he conducted on me led to the death of my firstborn child. And so it took me about a year thereafter for me to leave this relationship and kick it to the curb, so to speak, and to begin my journey of empowerment. So I was sharing this story with a few other folks that had dinner with me the other night, and I was amazed that 4 out of 4 of us actually had this exact experience of domestic violence. And so where I, fulfill my journey is in this world of empowerment. And where Sally is fulfilling hers is in the world of soul purpose, and hope is what she's bringing, and transformation is what she's bringing. And it looks like, let me read my notes here. It looks like she'll have to be back here. And she'll be up here in just a second. Daniel, thank you so much for troubleshooting our technical situation here today. And both Sally and I are collaborating, of course, she is a We Empower You club member. And we're working on not only her getting out there in a show like this, so we'll have to have her back, of course, but also she's working with folks in the intuitive world, folks that either have a medical condition or a mental or emotional situation they're overcoming. They're looking for support. They're looking for tapping into their intuition. And looks like Daniel's still trying to bring on Sally. So we're both here and excited to be working with you alongside of the We Empower Your Life community. And this has been a great conversation when Sally was here. I hope that we're still giving you some value. Continue to stay tuned as we move forward with our shows in the coming weeks, which are on Thursdays at 1:30 every single Thursday. And Sally, 4 minutes left of the show to be over with here. So whether or not Sally comes back or not, I do want you to know that We Empower You is a community of support of like-minded people, and we're building trust with one another, working collaboratively to shatter our revenue glass ceiling specifically. And we feature a millionaire mentor, Lee Romanoff, on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you're going to want to tap into that by going to weempoweryourlife.com and click on the calendar tab. That's where we host all of our meetings. And while I'm waiting for Sally to return, I also wanted to mention that we have the upcoming We Empower You Global Virtual Summit coming up on September the 8th. And that's where we feature 24 speakers or more, and we are lining them up right now. This is on topics of business, leadership, love, life, and health, and it's a 12-hour marathon day. You're not going to want to miss it. We have free tickets, up to 500 of them, that we're doling out on the website at weempoweryourlife.com. Click on the Summit Ticket tab, and you will be able to sign in there for your free ticket. So that's all I have for you today. I'm looking forward to Sally jumping back on here, even if it's just a last-minute call to action. We're just a couple minutes away from wrapping up. Perhaps you've heard enough today to want to hear more from Sally, so we'll have to bring her back, possibly as soon as in August. Thank you, everybody, for watching the We Empower You to Shatter Your Revenue Glass Ceiling. That's all I have for you right now. Bye for now.
Ask most anyone if they feel empowered in all areas of their life. If they're honest, they'll likely say no. Hi, I'm Bettina, Carey, and I may be only 4'9½", but what I do is big. Dream big, break through, and connect to powerful people like you. And what I'm doing is inspiring and empowering others to break through, shatter their revenue glass ceiling. And I'm here to tell you that the We Empower You community is where you're going to want to be. It's a community. It's a membership. It's a movement. And what we're doing is helping you to start and run your online business without doing a thing. We're helping you to find angel investors that you don't have to pay back, to run your own membership program where you don't have to do the work, and so much more. We are here to empower you at the We Empower You Global Summit and the weempoweryourlife.com. Visit us on the web at weempoweryourlife.com or text the word Bettina to 555-888. We'll see you at the summit.